Okay, let's talk about this Nancy Guthrie case. 6 months later, still no answers, and the family might be gearing up for a legal battle against Pima County. At first glance, this seems like a tragic mystery with cops failing to crack a kidnapping. But wait, if you dig deeper, this isn't just about a botched investigation. It's about systemic failures, ego-driven leadership, and the weird paradox of wanting justice versus needing closure. Let me break this down. First, the basics. Nancy Guthrie, mom of Savannah Guthrie from the Today Show, was kidnapped in February. No suspects, no real leads, and now she's presumed dead. The shocking part? The police didn't even secure her porch blood evidence for hours. Blood that was hers. Blood that could have held DNA. Instead, reporters and delivery drivers were walking all over it. That's the opening scene of this disaster. But here's what fascinates me: the Guthries are rich. Savannah doesn't need a lawsuit payout. So why would they even consider suing? It's not about money, it's about exposure. Discovery in a lawsuit forces cops to hand over every document, every text, every oops moment. Imagine dragging all those mistakes into daylight. For a journalist like Savannah, that's catnip. She's wired to chase truth, not just bury her mom quietly. Now, enter Mark Geragos, the lawyer who's like, let's sue everyone. He's got a point. If Pima County's incompetence cost Nancy her life, that's a case. But wait, 2 other high-profile attorneys say no way. Brian Sullivan, who just won Hunter Biden a $1.7 million defamation suit, calls it highly unlikely. Dan Abrams, legal analyst extraordinaire, says suing cops for screwing up is almost impossible. Qualified immunity, right? Cops can't get sued for bad judgment calls. But here's the twist: what if this wasn't just bad judgment? What if it was negligence so blatant it crosses into liability? The ransom notes were released months later, notes threatening Nancy's life if Bitcoin wasn't paid. If cops told the family not to pay, does that open a loophole? Because here's the gut punch question: if they'd paid, would she still be alive? That's the what if haunting this case. And that's where the family's lawsuit could sting, not for money, but to force answers. But let's talk about the real villain here, Sheriff Chris Nanos. Internal records show his homicide chief got reprimanded for evidence delays, then promoted. The same guy allegedly ignored blood on the porch. And get this, former Sheriff Lieutenant Heather Lappin claims Nanos purged top detectives who supported her election campaign. So the Guthrie case wasn't just a tragedy, it was a political casualty. A department gutted by ego, now scrambling to blame dark cameras and slow planes. Nanos says, "We're working hard with corporate America's brightest minds." Bro, your brightest mind couldn't secure a crime scene for 12 hours? Here's my take: this lawsuit talk is 30% legal strategy, 70% psychological warfare. The Guthries want accountability, but they're also sending a message: we're not letting this fade. And maybe that's the point. Lawsuits like this aren't about courtrooms, they're about pressure. About making sure no family suffers this incompetence again. Because if you're a cop, qualified immunity sounds like a shield. But if you're the victim's kid? It's just another wall hiding the truth. So while the lawyers argue technicalities, the real question lingers: how many more lives have to break before systems fix themselves? Let me know your thoughts. Does suing cops ever lead to real change, or is it just performative justice? Drop it in the comments.